The Pilgrim's Progress, Chapter 3. Now I saw in my dream that the highway up which Christian was to go was fenced on either side with a wall that was called salvation. Up this way, therefore, did burdened Christian run, but not without great difficulty, because of the load on his back. He ran thus till he came to a place somewhat ascending, and upon that place stood a cross, and a little below in the bottom a sepulchre. So I saw in my dream that just as Christian came up with the cross, his burden loosed from his shoulders and fell from off his back and began to tumble. And so it continued to do till it came to the mouth of the sepulchre, where it fell in, and I saw it no more. Then was Christian glad and lightsome, and said with a merry heart, He hath given me rest by his sorrow, and life by his death. Then he stood still a while to look and wonder, for it was very surprising to him that the sight of the cross should thus ease him of his burden. He looked therefore, and looked again, even till the springs that were in his head sent the water down his cheeks. Now as he stood looking and weeping, behold, 3 shining ones came to him and saluted him with, Peace be to thee. So the first said to him, Thy sins be forgiven thee. The second stripped him of his rags and clothed him with a change of raiment. The third also set a mark on his forehead and gave him a roll with a seal upon it, which he bade him look on as he ran, and that he should give it in at the celestial gate. So they went their way. Then Christian gave 3 leaps for joy and went on singing, Thus far did I come laden with my sin, nor could aught ease the grief that was in. Till I came hither, what a place is this? Must here be the beginning of my bliss? Must here the burden fall off my back? Must here the strings that bound it to me crack? Blessed cross, blessed sepulchre, blessed rather be the man that was there put to shame for me. I saw then in my dream that he went on thus, even until he came to the bottom, where he saw a little out of the way 3 men fast asleep, with fetters upon their heels. The name of one was Simple, of another Sloth, and of the third Presumption. Christian then, seeing them lie in this case, went to them, if peradventure he might. If peradventure he might awake them, and cried, You are like them that sleep on top of a mast, for the deep sea is under you, a gulf that hath no bottom. Awake therefore and come away. Be willing also, and I will help you off with your irons. He also told them, If he that goeth about like a roaring lion comes by, you will certainly become a prey to his teeth. With that, they looked upon him and began to reply in this sort. Simple said, I see no danger. Sloth said, Yet a little more sleep. And Presumption said, Every tub must stand upon his own bottom. And so they lay down to sleep again, and Christian went on his way. Yet was he troubled to think that men in that danger should so little esteem the kindness of him that so offered to help them, both by awakening of them, counseling of them, and proffering to help them off with their irons. And as he was troubled thereabout, he espied 2 men come tumbling over the wall on the left hand of the narrow way. And they made up a pace to him. The name of one was Formalist, and the name of the other was Hypocrisy. So as I said, they drew up unto him, who thus entered with them into discourse. Christian, Gentlemen, whence came you, and whither go you? Formalist and Hypocrisy, we were born in the land of vainglory, and are going for praise to Mount Sion. Christian, why come you not in at the gate which standeth at the beginning of the way? Know ye not that it is written, He that cometh not in by the door, but climbeth up some other way, the same is a thief and a robber. Formalist and hypocrisy. They said that to go to the gate for entrance was, by all their countrymen, counted too far about, and that therefore their usual way was to make a short cut of it, and to climb over the wall as they had done. Christian. But will it not be counted a trespass against the Lord of the city, whither we are bound, thus to violate his revealed will? Formalist and hypocrisy. They told him that as for that, he needed not trouble his head thereabout. For what they did, they had custom for, and could produce, if need were, testimony that could witness it for more than 1,000 years. Christian. But, said Christian, will it stand a trial at law? Formalist and hypocrisy. They told him that custom, it being of so long standing as above 1,000 years, would doubtless now be admitted as a thing legal by any impartial judge. And besides, said they, if we get into the way, what matter is it which way we may get in? If we are in, we are in. Thou art but in the way, who, as we perceive, came in at the gate, and we are also in the way, that came tumbling over the wall. Wherein now is thy condition better than ours? Christian. I walk by the rule of my master. You walk by the rude working of your fancies. You are counted thieves already by the Lord of the way. Therefore, I doubt you will not be found true men at the end of the way. You come in by yourselves without his direction, and shall go out by yourselves without his mercy. To this they made him but little answer, only they bid him look to himself. Then I saw that they went on every man in his way, without much conference one with another, save that these two men told Christian that, as to law and ordinances, they doubted not but that they should as conscientiously do them as he. Therefore, said they, we see not wherein thou differest from us, but by the coat which is on thy back, which was, as we trow, given thee by some of thy neighbors to hide the shame of thy nakedness. Christian. By laws and ordinances you will not be saved, since you come not in by the door. And as for this coat that is on my back, it was given to me by the Lord of the place whither I go, and that, as you say, to cover my nakedness with. And I take it as a token of his kindness to me, for I had nothing but rags before, and besides, thus I comfort myself as I go. Surely, think I, when I come to the gate of the city, the Lord thereof will know me for good, since I have his coat on my back, a coat that he gave me freely in the day that he stripped me of my rags. I have, moreover, a mark on my forehead, of which perhaps you have taken no notice, which one of my Lord's most intimate associates fixed there the day that my burden fell off my shoulders. I will tell you, moreover, that I had then given me a roll sealed to comfort me by reading as I go in the way. I was also bid to give it in at the celestial gate, in token of my certain going in after it. All which things I doubt you want, and want them because you came not in at the gate. To these things they gave him no answer, only they looked upon each other and laughed. Then I saw that they went on all, save that Christian kept before, who had no more talk but with himself, and sometimes sighingly, and sometimes comfortably. Also, he would be often reading in the roll that one of the shining ones gave him, by which he was refreshed. I beheld then that they all went on till they came to the foot of the hill Difficulty, at the bottom of which was a spring. There were also in the same place two other ways, besides that which came straight from the gate. One turned to the left hand, and the other to the right hand at the bottom of the hill. But the narrow way lay right up the hill, and the name of that going up the side of the hill is called Difficulty. Christian now went to the spring, and drank thereof to refresh himself, and then began to go up the hill, saying, The hill, though high, I covet to ascend, The difficulty will not me offend, for I perceive the way to life lies here. Come pluck my heart, let's neither faint nor fear. Better, though difficult, the right way to go, than wrong, though easy, where the end is woe. The other two also came to the foot of the hill, but when they saw that the hill was steep and high, and that there were two other ways to go, and supposing also that these two ways might meet again with that up which Christian went on the other side of the hill, therefore they were resolved to go in those ways. Now the name of one of those ways was danger, and the name of the other destruction. So the one took the way which is called danger, which led him into a great wood, and the other took directly up the way to destruction, which led him into a wide field full of dark mountains, where he stumbled and fell and rose no more. I looked then after Christian to see him go up the hill, where I perceived he fell from running to go, and from going to clambering upon his hands and his knees, because of the steepness of the place. Now about the midway to the top of the hill was a pleasant arbor, made by the Lord of the hill for the refreshment of weary travelers. Thither, therefore, Christian got, where also he sat down to rest him. Then he pulled his roll out of his bosom and read therein to his comfort. He also now began afresh to take a review of the coat or garment that was given him as he stood by the cross. Thus pleasing himself a while, he at last fell into a slumber, and thence into a fast sleep, which detained him in that place until it was almost night. And in his sleep his roll fell out of his hand. Now as he was sleeping, there came one to him, and awaked him, saying, Go to the ant, thou sluggard, consider her ways, and be wise. And with that, Christian suddenly started up, and sped on his way, and went apace till he came to the top of the hill. Now when he got up to the top of the hill, there came two men running amain. The name of the one was Timorous, and of the other Mistrust, to whom Christian said, Sirs, what's the matter? You run the wrong way. Timorous answered that they were going to the city of Zion, and had got up that difficult place. But, said he, the farther we go, the more danger we meet with. Wherefore we turned and are going back again. Yes, said Mistrust, for just before us lie a couple of lions in the way, whether sleeping or waking we know not, and we could not think if we came within reach, but they would presently pull us in pieces. Christian. Then, said Christian, you make me afraid, but whither shall I fly to be safe? If I go back to my own country, that is prepared for fire and brimstone, I shall certainly perish there. If I can get to the celestial city, I am sure to be in safety there. I must venture. To go back is nothing but death. To go forward is fear of death and life everlasting beyond. I will yet go forward. So Mistrust and Timorous ran down the hill, and Christian went on his way. But thinking again of what he heard from the men, he felt in his bosom for his roll, and found it not. Then was Christian in great distress, and knew not what to do, for he wanted that which used to relieve him, and that which should have been his pass into the celestial city. Here, therefore, he began to be much perplexed, and knew not what to do. At last he bethought himself that he had slept in the arbor that is on the side of the hill, and falling down upon his knees, he asked God's forgiveness for that his foolish act, and then went back to look for his roll. But all the way he went back, who can sufficiently set forth the sorrow of Christian's heart? Sometimes he sighed, sometimes he wept, and oftentimes he chid himself for being so foolish to fall asleep in that place, which was erected only for a little refreshment from his weariness. Thus, therefore, he went back carefully, looking on this side and on that, all the way as he went, if haply he might find his roll that had been his comfort so many times in his journey. He went thus until he came again within sight of the arbor, where he sat and slept. But that sight renewed his sorrow the more, by bringing again ever afresh his evil of sleeping into his mind. Thus, therefore, he now went on, bewailing his sinful sleep, saying, O wretched man that I am, that I should sleep in the daytime, that I should sleep in the midst of difficulty, that I should so indulge the flesh as to use that rest for ease to my flesh, which the Lord of the hill hath erected only for the relief of the spirits of pilgrims. How many steps have I taken in vain? Thus it happened to Israel. For their sin they were sent back again by the way of the Red Sea. And I am made to tread those steps with sorrow, which I might have trod with delight, had it not been for this sinful sleep. How far might I have been in my way by this time? I am made to tread those steps thrice over, which I need not have tread but once. Yea, also, now I am like to be benighted, for the day is almost spent. Oh, that I had not slept. And we'll pause here, and we'll continue with this chapter in the next video. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment below. I'd love to hear from you guys. Thanks for watching. I love you. As Tigger says, ta-ta for now.